Yes, yes, yes. Oh, you know what that sound means. It's time for In the Paddock F1, Greeny and the Cheese, and another off-season In the News special.
In the news.
And a new segment as well. Freeney's Grievances. Oh, I can't wait to see him spit some fire, because he's been hot. He's been hot. A lot of things in the news. Christian Horner meeting with Red Bull, might be losing his job. Carlos Sainz rumored for a number of teams, one of them being Mercedes. How about that? Maybe even the Red Bull. So he might be leaving Ferrari and get the upgrade. But let's just jump right into it. Greeny's Grievances. I'll turn it over to you, sir.
Well, you forgot we're caffeinated, we're medicated, and now we're ready for some grievances. Sometimes we forget our lives.
Probably forgot that because I am medicated, so.
Anyway, as I'm sitting here cooking for the Super Bowl, I got my brisket in, I got my chicken in, but let me tell you why I'm pissed as hell, all right? And I got some grievances, and I got some, as Frank Costanza once said, I got some problems with you people. And this week's grievances, it's all about these nonsense Formula One YouTube and TikTok channels that have absolutely... Now, listen, these channels we know, just it's easy to find where the scumbags are, all right? You have 20,000 subs and 1,000 views. You know it's BS, right? Follow the money. You know it's BS, number one. Number two, it's all clickbait now. It's okay when it's clickbait about drivers moving teams or drama going on. When you're talking about the assault of someone, when you're talking about someone's, not just their job, this goes beyond the job of Christian Horner. This goes legal, right? If you're talking about what they're saying and the rumors are saying, you're talking about legal. You're talking about someone that could potentially be going to prison. This is an executive of a company who could be, facing real penalties, not just losing his job. All right. So I know the Formula One world, and with Adrian Newey and, Pierre Wache now, Newey's assistant is talking about moving to Ferrari over the last few hours here. Every few hours you get something. And I don't know where a lot of
it's all in motion. It's all emotion.
It's all emotional. It's a lot of it's bullshit. And it's peddled by these clickbaiters. When there's something to talk about, when Christian Horner is going to go potentially to prison for assault, we'll talk about it just like everyone else will talk about it. Don't just start making stuff up. All right? We'll talk about what we know in a minute. We'll talk about where we are right now on February 11th and on Super Bowl Sunday. Right in a moment, but when it comes to this nonsense of just making stuff up for clickbait, it's ridiculous. All right, look at your view count versus your quote unquote sub count, because it's a joke. All right, it's over. YouTube and TikTok have to do a much better job getting rid of these people, because you're low key accusing people of crimes in your titles with no evidence. Right? Nothing, just rumors. Don't get confused with rumors of what drivers going where to which people have committed assault or not. So I'm going to leave it at that. But it's getting out of hand, and it's getting ridiculous. You can't conflate the both of them. And I think living in this bubble, living in this YouTube or TikTok world, we just live in this bubble where you can think you can say whatever you want. When it comes to crimes or potential crimes, potential, alleged at this point, you need to do your due diligence. You need to just relax and wait for things to roll in. And I know that's not how our media works, but that's how we are here. So if you want quality news, that actually real news and stuff that's actually going on, because we will report it and talk about it, as opposed to nonsense, you came to the right place. If you want nonsense, there's apparently plenty of people out there that are willing to peddle bullshit to you. So that's all I got to say about that this week. And sir, what is going on? What is the up to the moment with Red Bull and their entire staff, basically?
To be honest, nobody knows at this point. There's rumors flying everywhere. Some say Christian's going to go. Some say he's going to stay. Adrian Newey is going to stay. He's going to go. Assistant's going to stay. He's going to go. It's all in motion. We're apparently going to get a ruling from the independent people that Red Bull brought in to do the investigation in about a week or so, is what I've heard. So we'll know then what happens with Christian at that point. We'll have a better idea of where things are going to go, and then from there the pieces will fall. I mean, Adrian Newey, I heard a couple days ago that he told Red Bull that he'd stay, but if Christian Horner's out, he might just change his mind. He said some things about, wanting to work in Maranello. So
he's been saying that
everything's in motion. Everything's
summer.
in motion. Yeah, everything's in motion right now. Everything's in motion, and depending on what happens in a week's time when the ruling comes out or Red Bull announces what they're going to do with it, then we'll probably get the chips will then fall on where people are going to go or if they're going to stay. But until that time, it's up in the air. I mean, the rumors coming out of Red Bull don't sound damn good about, what happened here. It doesn't sound good to me at all.
Are they coming out of Red Bull?
I'm sure somebody's leaking information, as we, discussed in our last podcast. Information just gets out now. Somebody wants to get, make a name for themselves and get them, leak some information to the paper. And that's how it works nowadays. But from things that rumor mill, or scuttlebutt, as they say in the military, it don't sound good. It don't sound good.
Yeah, well, as they also say in the military, Christian Horner might be foobarred after this next week. But we will see. I'm going to leave it at this. There was an article over the summer in Sports Illustrated. Take that for what you will about with Adrian Newey, and one of the questions asked him, what are the two things you want to do before the end of your career? And he said, work with Lewis Hamilton and work with Ferrari. So take that as you will.
Put those two things together.
You can look that up yourself. You can do your own independent research. It was definitely an article written this summer, interview. I forget who over at Sports Illustrated that was covering F1 at the time. But it's there. It's out for public view. So where that might lead in the next 2 to 3 weeks, who the heck knows? We know a lot is in motion in the Formula One world, including, sir, and I know you don't care about this. Some people do. The new liveries, which are coming and still coming out. We're here at the 11th, so we're about halfway through the introduction of new liveries for the 2024 season. Anything outstanding to you? Anything stand out? Anything that you've been like, wow, so excited for this new livery?
Not really, no. No. They've been pretty bland.
A lot of black.
Visa, a lot of black. The Visa Cash App RB was probably the best looking of the bunch. But that was still,
Speaking,
it's not I don't know. I think they make a bigger deal of this. I mean, all sports franchises do, releasing, what the jerseys are going to be for each weekend now in the NFL. That each team, posts what uniforms they're going to be wearing and stuff. It's getting to be a bit ridiculous.
Fodder.
I mean, we used to not see the livery until testing, and you know what? That was just fine and dandy. And the only interesting, really, out of the last couple of years would be the And it wasn't even their real livery. It was just a spoof when Alpha came out with the camo.
It was great
for testing. I mean,
that was good
but
stuff.
then they never used it. They never used it during the race weekend.
Yeah.
So I mean, that was the most interesting thing, and that wasn't part of their release when they did their livery release when they got this put it on TV and have the drivers show up. The drivers don't care what the car looks like on the outside.
They have no idea.
Care less.
No, they don't care.
They could care. They could care absolute less. They care about how the car drives. That's what they care about.
Yeah.
I mean, some people get themselves all kit and caboodled about it, but
the one thing that was interesting, Cheese. The one thing that was interesting, Cheese, is how similar the Visa Cash App car looks to the RB19.
We said that. I said that weeks ago. It came out even before last season ended. That next season, AlphaTauri, now Visa Cash App RB, the most stupid name in racing history, is basically going to be running that year's Red Bull next season. So, I mean, McLaren Zach Brown has spoke out about it that Formula One has to step in, and a team cannot be running two teams, basically. Bottom line, or then everybody should. Then everybody should. Plain and simple.
We've talked about this before. Are you going to put 5 teams on the grid with 5 minor league teams towing the way, or are you going to go with a full 10 teams? And if you are, there are other
10 individual teams that come up with their own damn designs. Yeah, they might copy each other, but it's not just we don't have to invest any money into any development. We're just getting handed the best car that has ever been seen in Formula One scene. So come on, it's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah,
it's absolutely ridiculous that they get.
They're sharing engine suppliers. We know. But at the same time,
it's not even they're sharing engine suppliers. Red Bull is their own engine supplier.
Well,
it's not like McLaren, right, who's getting their engines from Mercedes, or Haas that's getting their engines from Ferrari.
Yeah.
But Red Bull is making their own engines and putting it into their own two own teams.
It's true, 100%.
But one team doesn't have to do any such development to their car whatsoever because they're just handed it.
So is this keeping other potential teams out of Formula One?
Possibly, yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's right. You like that one, don't you?
It's a wide range. You can go back.
Well, I mean, if you read into what that's right. That's how you got to do things nowadays. You know this.
But
like, if you look at the ruling that F1 came out and said about Andretti coming in, Formula One said they were protecting them from themselves, that they would be at the back of the pack and in some way be embarrassed. Well, you know what? You're a new team in Formula One. You probably should start at the back and have to work your way up. I mean, but they already had a mock-up of their own F1 car design already in a wind tunnel. And they weren't going to come in until, 26 anyway, so that's 2+ years of development that they would have put into it. I don't see that being an embarrassment. I mean, it definitely takes a spot. Formula One also came out after that as well and said that they don't want just one more team. They want 2 teams. They want 12 teams on the grid themselves. Now, the teams don't want that because they're going to lose cash. And they're all greedy.
It just depends.
And that was why they didn't want Andretti to come in. They didn't want Andretti to come in because of the money that they were going to have to split.
Yeah, they didn't want Andretti to come in because the deal they made initially was not enough. You're going to divide whatever money coming in by 10, and $300 million divided by 10 is not enough. $30 million is not enough to convince me to dilute the league as a team owner. But it's going to be like $1 billion+ to buy in, because $100 million for development for every team would get most teams up in the morning. Right? If you got the phone call and give you $100 million, $30 million is a lot of money. Don't get me wrong, but it's not enough for what Formula One does. Does that make sense? That just the
Yeah, but
numbers
I actually think that the teams would make more money from letting Andretti in, because that's a big name. It's going to bring sponsors. It's going to put eyes on the TV. It's going to put eyes on the streaming services and everything else.
Yeah,
I mean, I think they'd make more money out of that just from bringing that name back to Formula One. And when Andretti does something, they don't do it half-ass. Not like Haas. I mean, I think that's part of the reasons why Andretti and Haas split years ago, was because Andretti wanted to put a better product out, and Haas wanted to nickel and dime everything.
Well, because Gene Haas knows everything. Gene Haas knows everything.
Because Gene Haas knows all, so he wants to nickel and dime it. Well, then you're going to be at the back of the pack, and you're not going to progress forward. Andretti was willing to put the cash forward. They made the deal. They made the deal with Formula One.
Andretti has the potential possibility with keeping at 10. There's several teams, and we're going to talk more next week, but there are several teams on the grid that I believe within the next 12 to 24 months, one of these teams, if not more, will no longer financially be able to exist. Right? We've discussed this off the air. Yeah. We're going to continue to discuss this, and I believe next week I've been doing a little research, although apparently the FIA has also equally done a lot of the research I'm doing, and someone who's a big name in Formula One today might not be a big name in Formula One or in Formula One at all when we get to even preseason testing in 2 weeks. So we have a lot to discuss. Any parting wisdom or words, sir, before we end this In the News segment for this week?
In the news! Just stay medicated, my friends.
And thank you all for making January has been our biggest month ever. If you want to support us, we have no sponsorships. We have nothing to pay for it. Just go to our YouTube page. Check us out on wherever you get your podcast. How about give us a rate? 4 stars, 5 stars works. Whatever your rating system is and however you feel how many stars we deserve. I'm not going to twist your arm to give us a 5-star review, but review us. Give us a like on YouTube. Give us a sub on YouTube. That always helps. We don't ask for money. We have no sponsorships. We do this all for you guys. So just take that 30 seconds out of your day and hit us up one of those spots. And thanks so much. And we'll see you guys soon. Peace.
Peace.